Sige. Good day. So our debate is about should PAREX be built over Pasig River? So affirmative would be yes, build PAREX over Pasig River, and opposing would be no, do not build PAREX over Pasig River. So affirmative is composed of me, Joax, and Gwen, and opposing is composed of Jaggy, Cha, and Mandy. So we will start with the affirmative main argument. So despite recent efforts to rehabilitate the Pasig River, its current state is a far cry from its prime decades ago. There is no point in spending more money on such projects when the people and companies situated around do not change their behavior of dumping garbage into the river. This because the historical value has been lost. Filipinos do not remember how our ancestors built up the city of Manila around the Pasig River. We no longer know their stories from each time the city was rebuilt along the river. As a result, Pasig is not a social place anymore. It used to be full of small boats and even people swimming in it, but we are no longer attached to this place. In fact, the Pasig River was already declared as biologically dead in the late 1990s. As such, it would be better to redirect this time and energy into something more worthwhile.
One of the major points for PAREX is that it will alleviate traffic congestion in Manila by diverting drivers and POVs from already congested roads. The project itself will also provide public transport as it will allow Class 2 vehicles, which includes buses, entry into the expressway. Reduced traffic congestion and shorter travel times can translate into cost savings for businesses and individuals.
We also argue that building parks over the Pasig River can bring high use or market value, since this can stimulate economic growth and development. Improved transportation infrastructure often attracts investments and businesses, leading to increased economic activity. And this economic development can translate into one, higher property values, and two, increased tax revenues for the government. To begin with, the construction of barracks could lead to increased property values along its route and in nearby areas. With improved accessibility and connectivity provided by the expressways, areas nearby would be more desirable for residential, commercial, and industrial development. And as a result, property owners could benefit from higher property values and potentially increase rental income, contributing to the economic well being of Filipinos. Second, more infrastructure to boost productivity by facilitating the movement of goods and people. As mentioned by WAX, Paris provides a more efficient transportation route for goods and services, facilitating smoother logistics and supply chain operations. And lastly, building Parex could lead to job creation. The construction and maintenance of the Parex would generate employment opportunities for local communities. And additionally, increased economic activity around the river could benefit businesses, create jobs, and stimulate the local economy. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So for the opposing side, we believe that the PAREX shouldn't be built over Pasig River. The construction of PAREX over the Pasig River would worsen traffic congestion rather than alleviate it. While it might seem like a solution, it fails to address the root cause of congestion effectively and encourages more people to rely on private vehicles, exacerbating the situation in the long run. Moreover, while PAREX aims to address traffic concerns and reduce travel duration, existing policies for expressway make it more accessible for private vehicle owners, which on the contrary puts public transport users at a disadvantage. Overall, it highlights the prioritization of private cars rather than seeking solutions that would benefit the public transport systems and pedestrians, which could worsen the congestion and inequalities in the area.
Secondly, the construction of the PAREX project would not contribute to the restoration of the Pasig River and only worsen its current state. The Pasig River ecosystem is already fragile and heavily polluted, And the construction of PAREX could exacerbate these issues by further disrupting the river's natural flow and ecosystem. The construction of PAREX diminish the non-use existence value of the Pasig River, as this could have long-term negative consequences for biodiversity, water quality, and the overall health of the river. If car travel happens above the Pasig River, it may emit non-exhaust emissions such as dust and microplastics, which, when they fall into the river, will lead to pollution. Not only will it worsen water pollution, it will also worsen air pollution, which would cause negative health effects for the communities that live around the Pasig River and those who use it as a source of food and water.
Finally, the team argues that the PAREX project would diminish Pasig River's cultural and symbolic significance. The Pasig River holds immense cultural and symbolic significance for the people of Manila. Building PAREX over the river would disrupt this heritage, severing the connection between the city and its past. Prioritizing economic development over the preservation of cultural heritage undermines the importance of cultural values and heritage conservation. The historical significance of the Pasig River is that it served as a major transportation route during the pre-colonial and the Spanish colonial period. It connects Manila Bay and Laguna de Bay, whether it be by transporting people or goods. Throughout history, it was also seen as a major source of food, water, and livelihood for the communities that lived near it. To delve more into its cultural importance, the word Tagalog, rooted from either Taga-Ilog, river settlers, or Taga-Alog, settlers of the flooded areas beside rivers, is seen to most likely originate around the Pasig River area. This further adds on to the statement that the Pasig River played a central role in the formation of Tagalog history, identity, and culture.
Now, moving on to the questions. First, the question for the affirmative team would be that in the long run, would the construction of PAREX really lead to traffic decongestion, given that more roads typically lead to more people buying cars? Won't the introduction of another expressway within the central area of the metropolitan region simply result in a surge in driving demand, contradicting the project's very aim to alleviate traffic congestion? Are there ways through which the proponents of PAREX would ensure that there will be no induced demand for private vehicles?
We argue that the introduction of PAREX will not necessarily lead to a significant increase in private vehicle ownership or driving demand. Instead, we point to the fact that many commuters in Metro Manila already rely on private vehicles due to the lack of viable alternative transportation options. So PAREX simply provides a more efficient and convenient route for those who are already driving rather than attracting new drivers.
And if necessary, congestion pricing schemes, such as the use of toll gates for private vehicles, could be implemented to help reduce the induced demand and usage on the road.
I think that's all we have to answer for the question. But for our question for the opposing team, we argue that building barracks over the Pasig River would worsen traffic congestion. But what alternative solutions do you propose to address the current gridlock in Metro Manila that doesn't involve infrastructure development? Can we realistically rely solely on public transportation improvements, or are there other innovative approaches that could effectively mitigate traffic without sacrificing economic progress?
Okay, so first of all, we are not against infrastructure development. We are against the construction of PAREX over the Pasig River, as it contradicts its goal, which is to alleviate traffic, and diminishes the value of Pasig River as a place of socio-cultural and economic significance. Moreover, according to the DPWH, the project would cost a total of 95.4 billion pesos. And with this, some alternative solutions that we can think of would involve using the money for PAREX into building more walkable cities, funding the continuous rehabilitation of the Pasig River for more productive use, and green mobility campaigns, upgrading the Pasig River ferry as advocated for the passenger forum.
We recognize that relying solely on public transportation improvements makes alleviating traffic congestion impossible without considering other factors. Pushing policy reforms and allotting more budget to research is crucial to determining solutions that would benefit everyone.
Strengthening the existing laws and regulations is a policy reform that could benefit everyone. Traffic violation, illegal parking, and road obstructions have significantly contributed to congestion. Stricter implementation and penalties should be implemented to reduce traffic congestion. Moreover, technological advancements have also enhanced traffic enforcement system through speed cameras and other devices, which ensure the consistent regulation of traffic laws.
So, 15 minutes of pass, so the first rebuttals will start. We will start with the both of you.
Okay. So for the first rebuttal, first on the affirmative's argument that Pasig River is beyond saving, science has already shown and history has already shown that biologically dead rivers can be revived through comprehensive rehabilitation programs. Um, in the Philippines, the Pasig River Rehabilitation Commission or PRRC also has stated that even though the Pasig River was declared biologically dead in 1990, a resurgence of life is evident. So it is really in disregarding this possibility that the proponents curtail the cultural significance of the Pasig River and the possible benefits that its conservation will bring to us humans.
On your second argument on traffic light congestion, again, the sustainability of such an outcome remains questionable. While the construction of the PAREX project could decongest some roads at first, at first since buses would be passing by PAREX instead of other roads, in the long run, this does not address the people's traffic concerns from its route and would only drive the demand for private vehicles upward.
On the argument that building PAREX for the stimulation of economic growth and development, this transportation infrastructure in the name of development may attract investors, however, at the cost of exploiting our natural resources. In addition to that, urban planners also agree that new roads do little to reduce congestion, it would only lead to more traffic, which would result in more than 4 billion of estimated productivity loss. Workers who make up this productivity are mostly Metro Manila commuters who are dependent on public transport and would in turn suffer from the prioritization of private vehicles due to PAREX.
All right, on to the rebuttals of the affirmative side. On building PAREX over the Pasig River would lead to worsen traffic congestion. We acknowledge that we acknowledge the concern of that PAREX may cause even more traffic congestion due to the reliance of private vehicles. However, the construction of an additional infrastructure creates opportunities for adapting forms of public transport in the future. Additionally, as said earlier, congestion pricing may be introduced, where the management should be obligated to consult and comply with the government and other local authorities and stakeholders' interests.
Second, on the argument that no contribution to the restoration of Pasig River, actually SMC, the primary project proponent, has committed to environmental safeguards, as it states in 1.1 of the project description for scoping. The secondary benefit is cleaning of the Pasig River. So part of the activities to be undertaken are dredging of the riverbed and clearing of the river's debris and garbage to attain optimum depth and ensure that the constant flow of river water. And also, the increase in the loading capacity of the river will also help solve the flooding of low-lying areas near the Pasig River during heavy rains. And lastly, it may complement the ferry boats playing along the Pasig River.
On the cultural and symbolic significance. On the contrary, there are many ways in which the construction and maintenance of PAREX may assist in the preservation of both the cultural and environmental aspects of the river. Firstly, the construction of PAREX utilizes space that is underutilized by waterborne forms of transport, and as said earlier, may actually improve the conditions for boats which utilize the river. And lastly, it could provide much needed funding towards cleaning and restoring the river later on.
We also acknowledge that the construction of additional infrastructures could create more opportunities for transportation systems. However, we must consider the burden for the consumers and the transportation companies, as prices will definitely increase. There are also no concrete plans yet to achieve the congestion of prices, so it's hard to determine whether it would be an effective approach to ease traffic congestion. As of right now, we only have a stable foundation for the construction of PAREX and its aim to ease up traffic. But there are different external factors that are not considered. Furthermore, the building of infrastructures like roads can also disrupt the ecological system and harm aquatic life. The river also has a role in improving the climate of Metro Manila. The construction of infrastructures may eliminate these improvements, resulting in more pollution and inflicting more damage to the climate, ultimately opposing the restoration of Pasig River.
The construction of parks must not be pursued as it diminishes the cultural significance of the Pasig River, the site of historical, cultural, symbolic, and existence values. Not only would building an expressway over the Pasig River lead to possibly worse traffic congestion due to the prioritization of private over public vehicles, but it would also lead to negative consequences for the Pasig River itself, worsening the pollution-ridden state as it is currently in. It is necessary to take into account the aggregate of values in the Pasig River itself and the overall PAREX project's sustainability.
For the affirmative second rebuttal, we argue that we cannot rely on the government for everything. It is hard to push for the policy reforms we want. With PAREX, we already have the San Miguel Corporation taking care of that. The company stated that they would dredge the riverbed and assist in clearing the river debris and garbage. They're not asking the government for compensation. They will do all of that even if people will just dump garbage there again, as long as they get to build PAREX. Furthermore, it can be argued that the Pasig River no longer has social cultural value. The loss of that led to its present state today. And our closing argument is that the construction of PAREX is a necessary trade-off. If left alone, the Pasig River will continue to accumulate garbage. The government cannot keep up with the demands of the river. It is too resource exhaustive and costly to do so. Yet SMC infrastructure is here, willing to absorb all that loss. We just have to give them the chance, the clearance to build PAREX. So this is the end of our debate.